This channel is for adults and not for kids. It's for pissed off people that want to bitch about Kathleen Kennedy. Hey guys. So, I just felt like ranting for a little bit. If you don't want to hear this, then just stop the video. This ain't for you. I'll make some more videos this weekend with some cool stuff. But I had a buddy of mine send me a Chinese link to watch that Indiana Jones movie. And I watched it out of morbid curiosity. I knew it was gonna suck. I just didn't know as to what depths it was going to suck. It sucked hellaciously bad. It was fucking horrible. It was incoherent. There was just a million things wrong with that movie. It's fucking horrible. And I knew there was absolutely no way in hell I was going to give Disney my money for that, to watch them, whip out their dick and piss all over another beloved franchise that I loved in my childhood. The first 3 Indiana Jones movies are fucking classic. They're awesome. Hell, I'll even watch the 4th one with the aliens in it. This new one makes the 4th one look like a fucking masterpiece. And that one had a huge CGI clusterfuck. Scenes where Mutt was swinging around the jungle like Tarzan with a bunch of CGI monkeys, and that was crazy, but way more enjoyable than this new one. So this is me. I'm bitching about Disney. Under the control of, Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm, under the control of Kathleen Kennedy, and how she basically backstabbed George Lucas, and she's just an ungrateful, two-faced, propaganda-pushing, agenda-pushing, crazy feminist fucking no talent hack who can only get her jollies by tearing down heroes and icons of the past. That's not the way you make great art. That's not the way you make characters that stand the test of time. You don't have to tear down and destroy somebody else's work in order to make your piece of shit look better. That's not the way it works. You're supposed to write good characters, have characters that can stand on their own, and then people will respond to them. This is Luke Skywalker. And we got to first know him as a young, naive, restless farm boy. And we watched his character arc. He went from not knowing shit, full of wonder, wonder in his eyes, and gosh golly optimism. And over the course of 3 movies, we watch him mature and go through the hero's journey, face his darkest demons, and come out the other side as a full-fledged Jedi Master. We cared about him because there were stakes. He could fail. That's what makes a hero, is you go on the hero's journey with them. They aren't perfect from the fucking get-go, because then there's no need to go on a journey with them. If they're a combination of Superman and Jesus Christ from the get-go, then why follow them at all? If they're bulletproof and plot-proof and they can do no wrong and they can raise the dead and they can fly, and they're basically Neo mixed with Jesus mixed with, you know, whatever, Bruce Lee. They're just super duper bulletproof. Like the character of Rey, who had absolutely no character arc. She was a absolutely quote unquote perfect character to begin with. She was the strong female lead that was going to save all the men. Yeah, that's not really the way you write strong female leads or strong female characters. You know, Princess Leia was no pushover. She could stand up and fight. She basically took control of her own rescuing. She was a well-written character who was strong and feminine, and she couldn't walk on water. The character of Rey was like perfect from the get-go. She gets handed a lightsaber and she knows how to use it instinctively. Like, as much as I don't like that Kylo Ren character, she whoops his ass. And this is a dude that's been training for forever. He can stop laser bolts in midair with his thoughts, and he couldn't defeat her. She is like the quintessential Uber Mary Sue. And I know people get sick of that term, but it's totally true with her. She can do no wrong. She's perfect from the get-go. She doesn't need training, especially training from a man. Good God, we can't have that. She's got to be perfect from the get-go. In fact, she'll teach her master. Well, to make the Mary Sue of Rey look better, Kathleen Kennedy had to drag poor Luke Skywalker through the fucking mud. When I was a kid, there was no better example of optimism and heroism as Luke Skywalker. You know, if we picked up a flashlight and pretended it was a lightsaber and we ran around pretending we were Luke Skywalker, he was a hero. He stood for something. And he went through quite an ordeal to become who he finally became. All that optimism was thrown away. They turned Luke Skywalker into a broken, bitter, depressed coward that ran away to another planet to hide. That's not Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker never would have done any of those things. Luke Skywalker never would have flipped the fuck out and tried to kill young Kylo Ren. That would not have happened. That was lazy, stupid, just lazy fucking writing. Horrible. They feel the need to tear down your heroes in order to boost their own. To tear down what this icon stood for. They turned him into something that Luke Skywalker never would have turned into. So that Rey could stand on top of his dead corpse and pronounce herself the real Skywalker. And as if that wasn't enough, as if pissing on Luke Skywalker, the eternal optimist, the guy who looked to the better in everyone, the hopeful, good side of the Force, as if pissing on him and ruining his character wasn't enough, they did the same thing to our favorite smuggler. They turned him into a doddering old fuck, an absent father figure. They had him and Princess Leia, divorced and separated, and he wasn't there for his son, and then to make matters worse, let's have him get fucking murdered. Now, I know Harrison Ford has always had a hard-on for killing off Han Solo, saying that Han Solo didn't have a mama or a papa and didn't have anything to really live for, so let's kill him off to, make his death count for something. But the way they did Han Solo was dirty. And the way they did the fans was dirty. And they just turned him into this old doddering fuck, this old senile, geriatric fucking Alzheimer's patient, and had his own son run him through. That's a horrible thing to do to one of our childhood heroes. Once again, by taking the icons and the heroes that we grew up with, and by pulling down their Mickey Mouse panties and shitting all over our heroes, they hope to make their new heroes shine. So that Rey and Poe and Finn would seem like much better heroes by shitting on our icons of the past. Well, it gets even worse, folks. This is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is another icon, another hero, acted perfectly by Harrison Ford. He's a really, a well-written character, a homage to the serials of the 1940s, cliffhanger. That whole term comes from these types of serials where you would, the hero would actually be hanging off the cliff, and you'd have to come back next week to find out what happened to Indiana Jones. That's where the term cliffhanger came from. I know, Thor. I'm sorry. George Lucas with Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford and John Williams, they created movie magic. And Indiana Jones was damn near, like an adventure version of James Bond. He was just such a well-written, strong, intelligent character who didn't take shit from the bad guys, who beat the fuck out of fascists, kicked the shit out of Nazis. He was not only competent, but he was well, I won't say superhuman because he was fallible, and that's what made him so relatable, was that we could see him get hurt. But he was just such a well-defined and well-written character that we loved to see him get in peril, but we knew Indy was always going to pull through. And we were on that trip with him. So as I was saying, I watched that abomination from that Chinese movie link my buddy sent me. this is probably even worse than what they did to Luke. They made fucking Indiana Jones incompetent, clueless, weak, cowardly, depressed, fucking naive, gullible, timid. He needed to be rescued by a strong female lead. That Phoebe bitch, she's smarter than Indy. She's stronger than Indy. She saves his ass. Like, it's once again just tearing down of our heroes for agenda driven drivel. You don't need to make a strong female lead by killing and raping the male characters. That's not how it's done. That doesn't make us appreciate the plucky heroine. That's not how you do it. You write a good female character and then people will be enamored with her. You don't have to put something down in order to hold your stuff up. But they're so fucking intent on men are bad, women are good, women are smart and strong, men are dumb and weak and lazy, and don't have two brain cells to rub together to get out of danger. They need Phoebe to save them. They need Ray to save them. Kathleen Kennedy injects her own self into these films with some sick fantasy of hers where she has these avatars of hers that she puts into these films. First it was Ray. Now it's this Phoebe bitch. But it's so clear. It's as plain as the ass on a goat that she's just putting down male heroes in order to make her female heroes shine. And that's not the way you do it. I feel so bad for George Lucas. Disney has screwed the pooch. They have fucked up every single franchise that they got. They destroyed Star Wars. They destroyed Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're destroying the Marvel universe. Everything they touch turns to shit. And because they don't create. That company does not know how to create. All they know how to do is tear down stuff and destroy it. And to put some sort of bizarre woke agenda on it and repackage it and throw it out there to the masses, and it just does damage to the property. Nobody wants to see this fucking movie. I watched it out of morbid curiosity because I knew I was going to see it for free. And I wanted to see how bad they did our boy Indy, and it's bad. I'll never watch it again. There's only really 3 Indiana Jones movies. I want to say there's only really 3 Star Wars movies, but I don't hate the prequels as much as other people do. At least George was still in charge. These people don't know how to do an overarching story that runs through several movies. The way that George was able to tell that story. Instead, they break it up into just this campy, politically driven bullshit where each film is like a standalone clusterfuck. And, oh, we'll do better the next one. And it's even worse. Oh, we'll do better the next one. You've got horses running around in space. Wait, what? What just... There's horses running on top of a Star Destroyer? Huh? I do not like what has happened to Lucasfilm. I wish George could get it back, but that probably won't happen. I feel bad for him that Kathleen Kennedy is basically oversaw the destruction of everything her former boss believed in and wrote and almost died for during the first Star Wars. He almost died. Yeah, there are no more. Those guys aren't auteurs. They're not filmmakers. They're hacks that film 12 different endings and then they do this weird patchworking with test audiences to try and cobble together some coherent movie, and it never turns out right. I think they call it scrapbooking is what the term is, where they film 52 different endings and then they jumble it all around. So it's not a coherent film. There's no through line. There's no story that's being told that goes from point A to point B. It's all over the fucking place. None of it makes sense. It's sloppy writing by committee. There's no artist behind it. It's all done by committee and fucking, we took a survey and here's the notes we want you to change. It's horrible. What it does is it makes you appreciate what George did and what Steven Spielberg did. It makes those original movies shine even brighter. And the one redeeming thing is that they can never take those away from us. Even though George has tried to take those away from us himself, but we'll always have those first 3 Star Wars films or the 6 Star Wars films. And we'll always have those first 3 Indiana Jones films, or 4 if you're feeling generous and you want to see big aliens. It's not that I'm anti-heroines. I like a well-written female character. I like a chick that can save her own ass and fight. I like Princess Leia. I like Sarah Connor. I like Ellen Ripley. I don't like Brie Larson. I don't like the character of Rey. I don't like this Phoebe Waller whatever. I don't like these Mary Sue characters. And I really don't like tearing down what came before to try and put a sparkle on your piece of shit that you're handing us. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys and say, if you haven't seen it, I don't even recommend seeing it unless you're gonna see it for free and stick your middle finger up at the House of Mouse the way I did. Yeah, and you'd probably only watch it out of morbid curiosity like I did. Like you're slowing down your car to look at the wreck on the side of the freeway. You just want to see how bad that mangled mouse corpse looks, and it's pretty fucking hideous. It's a horrible way for our hero to leave. It's really bad. For all 3 of our heroes here, they all got done dirty. I feel bad for Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, George Lucas, even Steven Spielberg, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but that's a separate video that I'll make. His schmaltzy, sugar-coated, everything looks like a Pepsi commercial ass. But that's a separate rant. But yeah, give me them heroes of old where there were well-written characters, with well-defined stories, and we got to go on them on an adventure, have a great character arc, and come out the other side feeling entertained, hopeful, exuberant. Can't wait to watch it again. Let's hope good movies come back in style. I'll talk to you guys later. May the force be with us all.